Welcome to Shield Souls. This will be the final one, compiling everything I know about shields, and everything that no one needs to know about shields, just everything shield related in this one video. I will be going very quickly, so I hope you can keep up. Let's begin! First off, there's such a thing called an insta-block you can do with a shield. With any shield, one-handed, two-handed, doesn't matter, press the block button as soon as you get hit and you will take the stamina loss, but you will not have to do the recoil animation. Very good, very hard to do, very tricky, but if you can do it, it's amazing. Next up, number 2. Shields have different attack speeds. Hover over this annotation to know what it is, but if you'd like to see the video on how I worked out and you can have a chance to work out yourself, click over here and I'll give you all the data I used and you can work it along before I even show the conclusion. So, interesting data there. Next up, number 4. Block attacks. You can actually block all medium shields and light shields. When you press R2, you have a kind of running charge and you raise it up and back down and it has 2 hits. And during this entire move, it's all counts as block values. They're all block frames. So you take the stamina loss of blocking, as you would of any block, but you're aggressively attacking, as you can see in these clips. It's crazy good. You can follow it up on R2 as well, like a second swing the shield. It's just amazing. It's pretty good. Next up, number 6, block frames. Yep, you can get more blocking frames when you use your R1 and you push your shield forwards to bash them in the head. You also get block frames on the very end of it, as you can see here. The best thing to do is, after you push your shield forward, just hold them to L1, because you get the greatest chance, to get your block frame and automatically just block afterwards. So you can continue rolling around and moving all the rest. So, remember, R1 and then block while you're doing the move. Best way to do it. Next is number something, block pushing. Much like when you can attack with R2 and you can block the whole time, when you push, you actually get block frames, providing you have a shield two-handed or a shield in the main hand. With this, you can do crazy things that you can see here. You can push into attacks, you can be really fearless, you can just, and if not, if you don't get the push, you block, and if not, you push them before you get attacked back. So the stamina loss isn't a big deal. And the weird thing is, the stamina loss is actually determined by the stability of your left hand weapon. For example, if I have a shield in the main hand and a dagger in the left, I'm actually blocking with my left hand item, which is crazy weird, because it doesn't seem to work that way with anything else. So if you push with a, let's say, a target shield, a really weak shield or plank shield in my main hand, but I have a Havel shield in my left hand, I'm blocking the Havels just by pushing with the plank. It is utterly bizarre. I have no idea how they got it this way. Obviously when you two-hand it just counts the two-hand item for both hands, which is pretty fascinating. So there you go. If you use this as much as you can, if you want to mess around with cool builds that have say a right-hand shield and a left-hand ultra sword, then you can push with with no fear of repercussion and have the decent blocking protection of a left-hand weapon. And it gets even better. When you push someone, there's something called instability frames, which is anything in this list here. So when you push someone, pushing with a shield, which is not even being counted, and even if you're 0 poise, you can't be interrupted. You cannot be stopped at all. And with some weapons, like the Batman's halberd you can see, you can easily swing with the other weapon if it's huge range and reach, and you're doing 40% more damage. Just because you want to. It's insane. And you can do this with most weapons. Just look at it. You can increase your damage by 40% just for pushing them, which they can't stop you. Like if they hit you too early, you block. If they hit you too late, they've already been pushed. It is ridiculous. Anyway, have fun with this one. Number 12. Sanctus gives you 2 HP regeneration a second, and having 2 of them will give you 4. It stacks. Now for parry stamina. Whenever you parry, you use stamina. Standard and light shields use different amounts of stamina, and including special parries as well, which use the same amount as the smaller one. So as you can see here in this graph, this is the difference between 5 parries with a shield. Next up, offhand attacks. It's going to be complicated to explain. Right, basically all shields can normally have a block, parry, and almost all of them have a third hidden one, which is a bash animation, much like the spiked or crystal shield. Right, to do it, you have to do what I'm flashing on the screen now, because it's very complicated to explain and I get stumbling over my words. So, it's fairly tricky to do, it's more of a novelty thing really. It's, just curious that they've left this in the game, it may have been once in the future. Alright, next up, infinite stability. So, what is infinite stability? Well, using a magic shield and strong magic shield, not only to give you a load of magic resistance, like an insane amount, it actually increases your stability. So much so, it goes above 100, and therefore you lose no stamina loss. An interesting feature is the Bonewheel shield here normally takes breakthrough damage. You lose a bit of health whenever you block. But when you have infinite stability, it does not matter at all. It's just pretty interesting, and somewhat handy. Anyway, next up, strongest shield. So then, what is the strongest shield? Well, it's one of three. It's either the Bonewheel shield, the Pierce shield, or the Spike shield. But, to make sure the testing is absolutely fair, they actually share different animations. The Bonewheel shield is a heavy shield, so it attacks differently. So, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about move swapping, and then get back to this. So, move set swapping. Basically, with your rolling attacks and your running attacks, you can actually swap it for another weapons. Basically, you do this by two-handing your left-hand weapon, which you do by using a bow and rolling and switching it inside the menu before the game realizes what you're doing. And then you permanently, until you undo-hand or change your weapon. And this is very good for shields, considering they have a pretty lousy running attack and a very crap rolling attack. So, I've been using a rapier and using a running charge to determine what is the strongest shield by default. Back to the data. And the result is, oddly enough, Pierce shield is strongest, Spike shield is second, and the Bone is third. You would think the Bonewheel shield would be second, considering it's got 5 more attack. So, to our lucky winner, we're going to get back and figure out the highest damage you could possibly do in the game for shield is. But that's later. In the meantime, take a look at these silly move swaps, just because you can. And I'd better make a point about move swapping real quick. It may seem overpowered that you can swap a dagger moveset and put like a giant club on it and do crazy fast attacks with a giant club. But you cannot backstab at all. Obviously you can't parry and riposte either, because you're a two-handed weapon. So, it's quite a big sacrifice in order to do this. Also, if you're using a shield with both hands, it's all benefits. There's no downside really. And it looks really silly. Let's get back to shield stuff. The best magical resistant shield in the game is the Crystal Shield, which you get from the Moonlight Butterfly, as you see here. And the most light resistant shield is the Effigy Shield, with 90%. Fortunately, it's outside of Tomb of Giants, so if you want to use it to go against Ornstein and Smo, or Big and Smalls, whatever you call them, it's probably more bothersome than it is to actually fight the boss. So, that's unfortunate. And Fire is Black Knight Shield with 95% reduction. And check this out. It makes a cool noise as it comes to the shield. Ooh, we're getting really close to really interesting stuff. Alright, next up, unique movesets for shields. Alright, the Pierce Shield, Crystal Shield, and the Spike Shield all have bashing. They don't have parries, they have a special R2 bash. And even when you two-hand it, they have a different sort of bash compared to the running up charge. In fact, it's inferior to the charge. As you can see in this next bit, the Spike Shield has a bleeding effect. And obviously if you move swap it to something that hits more frequently, every single hit is counted, so you can abuse this with other items as well. You get very easy bleeds. Now this one is certainly unique. If you can two-hand a Havels, which requires 50 strength, so 34 is how much you would need to two-hand it. If you can, when you press R2, you consume a lot of its durability to put this buff on yourself. It will give you an insane amount of poise, you take normal damage, and all attacks will just deflect off your body. You quite literally become Havel the Rock. Another good thing, when you push your shield up and you start casting an animation, it actually does act as a shield on the front. So you can actually stand in the corner and block quite safely as you cast this. Now then, back to the highest damage. Bring back our old friend the Pierce Shield, which was the best of the 3 shields, but it gets even better. It's classified as a thrusting weapon. Normally, when the enemy is inside an attacking frame, and you hit them while they're still inside it, you do 20% more damage. But thrusting weapons and the Leo Ring increases it to 60% more damage. Probably see where this is going. Add that and the Power of In, Red Tear Stone, and the Leo Ring counter-attack damage, and you end up with pretty sizable damage. As you can see, and you have been seeing, I'm slowly adding these up one by one, up until we get to the final total of 862. Not too shabby. Alright, let's get back to more shieldy things. Right, there's some shields that actually block status effects. The Crystal Shield, and the Spider Shield, and the Great Shield of Taurus all block status effects. The Spider Shield does poison, but the Crystal Shield can block every status. And it all works as long as it isn't an AoE attack, e.g. Poison Mist, or that cursed Powder Frog stuff. So, if you go to Blight Town, buy a Crystal Shield off the dude sitting inside, Dom Hall of Boogaloo. This guy. As a quick note, the Blood Shield does not actually make you immune to bleeding, it simply raises all your resistances by 50%. Not block, just increases. Next is Deflection, something I'm sure you know lots about already. Simply, there's light, medium and heavy deflection. And normally medium shields have medium, light, and heavy. There's only one or two exceptions to this. The cracked shield has none, as does the dark hand, and the iron round shield, Shiva of the East, has heavy deflection on a medium shield. What is interesting is, if you do not meet the requirements on a shield, if you're one-handed or two-handed, you get 0 deflection, as you can see from this Havel's, which is giving me none. However, if your weapon is broken, and you do meet the requirements, you still get the full deflection, although you do take minor penalties elsewhere. And now probably the moment you've been waiting for, everyone's favourite, and worst nightmare, the Bonewheel shield. As you know, if you one-hand or two-handed, or in the off-hand, if you had stats, you can use awesome spinning attack. Not only is it what makes it have so much good damage, it's just awesome. To make it more awesome, when you moosehop it. Yeah, I know, I say moosehop a lot. Anywho, by rolling and queuing up the command, pressing R2 while rolling, and quickly switching your weapon, you can perform the Bonewheel swap with anything in the game. It is insane. I'm going to show you a bit of boss clips when I was just messing around, and it's the damage is just great. Obviously you can't buff the weapon, but Red Tear Stone, Power then still work. It has some nice little neat qualities as well. Each hit counts as an individual strike. If you use the good old Spike shield again, you can instantly bleed pretty much anything in the game, just straight away. And let's look at this. You've actually found a use for the crystal ring shield, although I think it's not too bad personally. You can actually switch from the very same technique you saw me do, switch any R2 move with any other one in the game. So you can do this to that, and this one to this one, whatever you think of. You can use any weapon with a special animation to switch to any other one. I find the crystal ring works quite well. One, you've got a lot of time to do it, it consumes only a little bit of durability, so it's very convenient to do it so. And it can be done in either hand. Most unique weapons, you need to be two-handed in order to use the secret move. But it actually has one great secret behind it, which none other can do. So, how would you like to use the Havel buff, or ever obtaining the Havel shield, ever equipping it, or even needing to meet its strength requirement? All you have to do is use the crystal ring shield to switch to a great shield. Now it doesn't work on every great shield, but it works with most of them. And it is insane. You can go hopping around with like low strength characters and use this buff. It's very easy to do before a fight, considering the timing is very generous. And finally, the most important subject there is, which is me to thank you for watching. We had a lot to cover today, and I'm glad you stuck it through. Next time, Dark Souls 2. I'll see you then. Goodbye.